Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. All we're doing today, ladies and gentlemen, is the news. We're not going to do the normal podcast, so this should be just a little bit of a different video, just a little bit quicker. We're just going to talk about the news. So let's get into this first news story. This first news story comes from Pro Football Rumors, and it's the obvious one. Dolphins to start Tua Tagovailoa this upcoming Sunday against the Los Angeles Rams. I'm very excited about this game. I mean, obviously, we're all very excited about this game. I think the only negative about this entire situation was the media coverage of this was insane, and it was just probably the most ignorant takes I've ever heard in my life. But other than that, I'm very excited about this. I think some of the Fitzpatrick stuff is a little misleading. You know, he's 10 for 7. He had those 2 interceptions. I think not to criticize Fitz too much because he was playing good. He was not playing bad. He was putting up historically great Dolphins numbers. Like, not since a lot of his stats are not since Dan Marino, not since Dan Marino. So we got to give Fitz a lot of credit there. But, you know, he had his issues. You know, it seemed like he wasn't seeing the field all that well. And some of the arm strength stuff wasn't all that great. So I don't think this is kind of like, why did we bench Fitzpatrick for no reason? I think there are reasons for that, and we've discussed that on many of the podcasts after games with some of the flaws that he's had. So for me, I don't think it's that crazy. Because, I mean, I wanted Tua to start after the Seattle game because Fitz did not have a good game in that fourth quarter. It was really bad. In most of that game, it wasn't all that great in the red zone especially. For a lot of different reasons, whether it was misreads or bad throws or bad decisions. Fitz had a big hand in losing that game. And obviously Noah Benogany gets the most of the blame. But I do want to make this argument, because I haven't heard this argument in this side of it, that Fitz has had his issues. It is not like he's been perfect. I know he's top 10 in QBR. I understand that. I know he's very high in completion percentage. But he's very high in turnovers. He's second to only Carson Wentz in the league right now. He's, like I said, he's top 3 in that. So he's had his issues. From the things that we've seen in practice, Tua, and from what we've heard, and from what, especially recently, I'm talking about recently, not during training camp, and some of that league footage that we saw, I think he's ready. You know, and I think what he brings to the table offensively that Fitz didn't is arm strength and his ability to read a defense and get from 1 to 4. Even Fitzpatrick at his old age in the NFL, and this is something that I've talked about all year, he just has a hard time of getting off the first read or the second read. And that even in the Jets game, I can point out 2 plays where I'm like, this guy's open, just get the ball to him. And you just never saw him. There's like 2 really egregious ones. One where Chandler Cox would have walked in for a touchdown. And that's happened consistently this entire season. And I do want to say this too. It is a little nitpicky to Fitz. Fitz is a veteran quarterback. People are going to miss reads. So, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You're not going to make every read. You're not going to see it all the time. But it did show up consistently. Like, I can easily, in every game, and especially in every loss, give you 2 or 3 plays where it's like, this guy's open. What happened here? So I think what Tua does bring to the table that this team hasn't had is that ability. I think that's Tua's best ability, is to go from 1 read to the 4th read, really see things quickly, and get the ball out fast. I mean, his second play, I think it was 2nd or 3rd, where he converted the 3rd down, was our only 3rd down of the day, to Jakeem Grant is a great example of that. He's being blitzed. He goes from 1 to 3. He goes all the way across the field, scans the field, and gets the ball to Jakeem Grant. So I think that's an element that we've missed that hopefully, I don't know Tua's a rookie, but hopefully Tua brings to the table, which is a huge part of his game. So I don't think we're not going to see that. So I think the things that he does bring to the table that we didn't have before is his ability to, I think, stretch the field a lot better, and accuracy, and I think his ability, I think the biggest thing is just his ability to get off the first and second read and really read a defense quicker. And that's something I think that we have left a lot of plays out there, in my opinion, just from the games that I've watched. I don't want to sound like, I hate when people, it's like, well, Fitzpatrick he's been a quarterback for over 16 years. He obviously knows a lot more about football than any of us do. But it is something that you notice while you watch the games. That's all I'm saying. And obviously the narrative that this offensive line isn't good is ridiculous. I think we've talked about this on the show many times. We don't have to get into that. Obviously, since week 1, that has been one of the very bright spots of this team. And especially since the D-line and defense has come on, to me, that was the best unit on the field for like the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. So I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I think it's going to be just fine. So I'm excited to see what Shane Gailey does too as well, because he's been very creative so far. I think it's another underrated element. He's really, really on fire in terms of calling plays. He's doing a very good job of that right now. He's got everybody in a rhythm. Like some of the stuff, since obviously the bye week, I've been watching rewatching a lot of Dolphins games from this year. There've been a lot of creative plays that you really don't expect someone of his age to come up with. And that was one of the concerns, is like maybe he's a little bit aged out and isn't hip with the times, doesn't have, isn't going to be very innovative. A lot of our stuff is just going to be kind of old, and it's not. It's very innovative. He's done a lot of creative RPO stuff. He's done a lot of new age concepts, which I think are going to help Tua as well. And so I think when you combine the fact that our play caller is on fire right now, our offensive line is really good, we have 2 studs at receiver, and our tight ends are coming on really strong, and Myles Gaskin is playing at a pretty high level, I think all of those things are obviously good for a rookie quarterback. So I think he's going to be really, really good. And I think he brings elements, like I said, like I brought up before, to this offense that we did not have. So I think he improves our team in that area. So I think I just wanted to talk about that, and not necessarily the media stuff, because I think you guys have heard about that all enough. I don't need to tell you that. You guys know that. So yeah, I'm very, very, very excited because of all those reasons I just stated for Tua. And I think he's going to do really well, especially after we heard what his teammates had to say about him. So let's move on to the next news story. The Dolphins to work out Malik McDowell. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. The Dolphins have conducted an interesting workout Wednesday. They brought in former Seahawks second-round pick Malik McDowell, obviously the defensive tackle out of Baylor, if you're not familiar with him. They're also trying to sign Dontari Poe, I read this morning. Obviously, the DT rotation isn't all that great right now due to injuries, so that's something to keep your guys' eye on. I think either one of them, obviously, if you're not familiar, if you haven't been keeping up with some of this rumor stuff, the Dolphins also tried to sign Damon Harrison, Snacks, off of the Seahawks practice squad. So this is something that Chris Greer is trying to get done for multiple weeks now, is try to add more depth to that DT room, and hopefully he does that this week. I wouldn't mind bringing them both in, to be honest with you, Poe or Malik McDowell. Malik he had a really high ceiling and just never hit it. I think he had motor issues, effort issues, something like that. Poe is he's a good veteran rotational guy, so I think either one of those two would be great. And it would be cool just to bring in Malik. Maybe he has something left in the tank. Maybe Brian Flores has done a really good job of, helping people reach their potential since he got here, and player development. So it would be interesting to see if Malik McDowell could do some of that if he was a Dolphin. So just keep your eyes on that with the Poe and the Malik McDowell. And maybe we still do get Snacks off their practice squad. Who knows? But yeah, that's something to keep your eye on. This next news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins receiving trade calls on Xavier Howard. Now, this is an interesting story that I'm sure you guys have heard about a ton already. So we're just going to run through this. Barry Jackson and Adam Beasley of the Miami Herald said while Howard would not mind being traded, according to the Herald, the Dolphins made the interesting move of sending out a statement that they are not. I don't know why they phrased it that way. When I read this first, it bothers me the way they phrased it. It says the Dolphins made the interesting move of sending out a statement on Twitter, which we're going to read right here, that they are not going to trade Xavier Howard. Let's see, let me get the exact quote here. Okay, so this is what the Dolphins had to say. The report in the South Florida Sun-Sentinel is factually, this is from the Dolphins, factually incorrect and based on rumors. The paper practiced poor journalism by not reaching out to the team for comment or the chance to respond to the story. We are not exploring any trades regarding Xavier Howard. So every Dolphins fan kind of went like that, because if Xavier Howard was traded at the deadline, I think we all kind of understand what this year's about. It's not about getting to at least the 7th seed, or even an AFC East crown at that point. So I'm glad that this obviously got cleared up, and this has been a rumor like dating back to last year. Even when I think that's when we gave him his contract, and I know we gave him his contract when Brian got here. So the fact that Brian and Chris were the ones who extended him, and even last year there were rumors that they were going to trade him, and obviously last year would have made more sense. But if they were going to do it, they would have done it last year, in my opinion. And I know he was not healthy, and maybe that hurts his stock a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like that would have already been done if that was the case, in my opinion. So yeah, obviously the Dolphins aren't going to do that. This last news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins extend Adam Shaheen. Again, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. The Dolphins have agreed to a 2-year contract extension with tight end Adam Shaheen, according to ESPN.com's Adam Schefter. The deal is worth up to $7 million, with $3 million guaranteed. The team will keep him through the 2022 season. So this is good news. Obviously, Adam Shaheen has 2 touchdowns on the season. He's been a very good run blocker for us. He's a mismatch nightmare. He's very athletic. If you've ever seen him play in college, that's why he was drafted to Chicago. He was a very talented receiving tight end. When he got to the NFL, I think he's 6'7". It turns out he can really block as well. Like, he's a really good run blocker. So I think he's just reaching his potential as a receiving threat. And I think something that he brings that Gesicki doesn't is Adam Shaheen is a very traditional receiving tight end. He's better after the catch, and I'm not talking about he's faster. I'm talking about physically. Like, he can he can run over a middle linebacker. He can fight for extra yards. He can do some of those things that traditionally a tight end can do that Mike is not all that great at. Mike is more of a finesse tight end. I think Shaheen's a little bit quicker out of his breaks as well. I think he can get in and out of his breaks a little bit better. He reminds me a lot of, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on. But the way that Chan Gailey has been using him, at least in the Jets game, if you guys aren't familiar with this tight end, Scott Chandler, he was a longtime Bills tight end. He was very good. He was very good in that system with Chan Gailey. And he kind of used him the same way. Some of those, post routes over the middle, really utilizing him over the middle of the field. And maybe I'm getting that tight end's name wrong. I believe I'm not. I'm pretty sure it was Scott Chandler. Had a very good career with Buffalo. I'm actually Googling it right now to make sure. Yeah, it is Scott Chandler. I just wanted to make sure. That was some time ago. But yeah, I think the way that, and especially if Mike and Shaheen really come on, and it also allows Chan Gailey to do multiple personnel options, because Shaheen's a better run blocker. You can keep both of them in. If you want to run the ball, you can. If you want to pass the ball, you can. And that's not something that Mike... It's a little bit of a tell when Mike's out there, especially if he's lined up in the slot. It's a pass, so you can hide that a little bit more. Not if Shaheen continues to really grow as a receiving threat. So again, he's 6'7", beast of a man, very athletic, and very excited for his future as a Dolphin. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your news update. Just wanted to do this quick video because I felt like I needed to talk about some of these topics. Oh, we have one more news story. I almost forgot. Antonio Callaway comes back this week. I just wanted to remind everybody of that. I really wish some of these reporters would ask Brian Flores about him, or Chris Greer, instead of asking about the Xavier Howard and asking for Tua the 1,000th time. What do you expect from Tua? It's like he doesn't have a crystal ball, everybody. He can't tell you how many touchdowns the man's going to throw against the Rams. But I would like to know if Antonio Callaway is, what's going on with Antonio Callaway. I don't know if we'll see him this week, but hopefully we see him in the near future. And he's a very talented player, so I'm very excited about it. So yeah, that has been your news update, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think about some of these topics down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one.